Welcome to Melon Kitchen. I'm so excited to bring to you another What's for Dinner episode. Let's get into this. First off, I made tostadas. I really like ceviche, and this is kind of like that. I wouldn't say it's traditional at all because I am using cooked shrimp, but I love this cold water shrimp and cucumber, tomato, fresh garlic, lemon, and avocado. I also really like lime with this as well. And it's so simple. You just put everything in the bowl, chopped up. You can add in chilies if you like it. And it was so good. And this time I used regular corn tortillas and I lightly fried them so they weren't extra crispy. Sometimes you can get the chip kind, and they're really hard. And then I decided to be really ambitious and make a quiche. And I went all out for this. Started with making some bacon. I am no good at making pie crust. I definitely could use some work on my skills with that. And I am just totally winging it. I've got about 5 tablespoons of softened butter. I would say maybe 1/4 cup of grated cheese. Of course, my Lawry's garlic salt. You guys know how I enjoy that. Added in some flour. And I want to say that was probably a cup. Seriously, I wasn't measuring. I was just experimenting. And then I'm just gonna add in some water. So I put the crust in the fridge to cool down and to incorporate, and now it's ready to be rolled out, and it was too sticky. I had put too much water in it, so I needed to add some flour and work it out. I've also made a gluten-free quiche before, and what I did is use spaghetti squash as the bottom, and it is a few extra steps because you have to cook the spaghetti squash, take it out of the shell, and then put it into the bottom of the pie dish. I just add some butter and a little seasoning, but it is oh so good as well. I just wanted to let you know that is something that is really good too. And I'm gonna have recipes linked below in case you guys would like to make these. Here I am kind of fussing over my crust, trying to get all the holes patched in, and like I say, I just need more practice, but I actually do enjoy this part of patting it and getting it just right. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys like to make your own crust. Do you buy store-bought crust? Is there a kind that you like? I love chatting with you guys. I'd love to know. Cooked some Brussels sprouts in the bacon grease until they were just fork tender. So yummy. And then for the filling of the quiche, I just used the same bowl as I made with the crust. And I'm just going to add in 7 eggs. And I would say half and half is probably my favorite liquid item to add into the quiche, but I didn't have any, so I just used milk. So whole milk, whipping cream, or half and half. You want it to give it some good fat. When I like to mix up eggs, I like to do the circular motion, but also with these, since there's so many, I was like scrambling them. This bacon was so good. I typically like my bacon to be not overly crispy unless it's in soup. And I don't know, I just got the perfect consistency with this bacon this time. So I would recommend a strong, like a sharp cheddar when you put it in a quiche because you really want the flavor to stick out, or at least I do. And I didn't have any sharp cheese, so I just used some pepper jack and medium cheddar since that's what I had, and it turned out okay. And I forgot to mention, I pre-cooked the crust, so it had already been in the oven for about 10 minutes on 375, and then this cooked for about 35 minutes. I added some more cheese on top, and it was delicious. And with adding the cheese into the crust mix, it made it a little extra crunchy. Oh, so good. Breakfast or dinner was a hit. I'm the kind of person that could eat soup even on the hottest day. I love soup. And I thought I would really go all out and make homemade chicken noodle soup the hard way, I guess is what I would call it, or the more steps way. I roasted the chicken and wanted to eat the potatoes and carrots for one meal, and then make the broth with the bones, make some bone broth, and use the chicken for the soup the next day with some of the roasted vegetables, which I used carrots and onion. I also stuffed my chicken with some lemon and onion. I did a olive oil, butter, garlic salt rub on top of it. And I didn't have the traditional egg noodles. I just had these, and they actually worked really well in the soup, the longer type noodles there. I think that if I were to make this again, I probably would just cook the chicken whole in the stock pot because it would be just a ton easier. It would be less steps, but I really enjoyed the flavor. It turned out amazing, and there's nothing like a homemade chicken noodle soup in my opinion. And then I also got one of those Caesar salad kits from Costco with my cold water shrimp. That's my favorite Caesar salad kit from Costco. I love that extra little pocket they put in their kits. And cabbage, I've been putting cabbage on top of a lot of soup lately. It adds crunch and fiber, and lemon. And then I also made another soup. So this is some pork shoulder with a little orange juice and onion, and I just put some seasoning on top of it. I did this the old school way as well, not in my Instant Pot or crock pot, but in the stove. And then I just added in some garbanzo beans. I was trying to make a pozole. I didn't have any hominy, but this also just was really flavorful. I added too much orange juice, so it was a little sweeter than I wanted it to be, but it was still very enjoyable. And you can add in chilies, whatever other Mexican seasoning that you like. Well, that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this What's for Dinner video, if it inspired you, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I hope that you'll consider subscribing if you haven't already yet. I share recipes, grocery hauls, and food reviews, and I'll see you next time.